Hey, Sean here from SpeedCubeReview.com. Let's look at the differences between the Gan SM, the Gan 354, and the Gan 356X. So these are the three main ones that are out right now, and I believe all three are in production, although I've heard they are making an SM version too. Don't know when that one's going to be out, but it's mainly going to be an upgrade from this one, and they're still going to have these as well. So let's go over the differences and which one you might want to pick up. Let's first talk about accessories that you get with it. Actually, I can't remember exactly if the SM came with a bag, but these ones did not come with a bag, so they might just be phasing out that. I did like those, although I have too many at this point. So with the SM, you get 7 different sets of springs, the ones that are in there, as well as 6 other ones, and I'm missing one right there. Don't know where that one is. Then with the 354, you get 3 other sets of springs, and with the X, you get 3 other sets of springs. So 4 total for both of those, as well as magnets. And I'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts with this. So the different springs you get with the SM as opposed to these ones are ones that are tighter. So with the X and the 354, you get the purple, which is the lightest, then the blue, the green, and the yellow. With the SM, you also get the clear, the orange, and the red. Now, I literally have never met anyone who liked the red ones. I use the orange in the regular air, but not with the magnets, and I still had to actually speed it up a little bit. So clear is what I like, and I've said that in multiple videos. So let's move these out of the way for a second. I don't really need to do too much as far as performance for things like corner cutting. Now, the tensions are a little bit tighter on a lot of these, but corner cutting is about 45 degrees. On looser tensions, you can get a little bit farther corner cutting, but that's going to be the same for all of these. Now, I think I'm going to make a video on why testing corner cutting like that is actually a really bad way to test corner cutting, because as it flexes, that actually changes how much corner cutting can happen. So let's talk about that flexibility. The SM, in my opinion, is the most stable, with the 354 being a little more flexible, as well as the X. These two seem about similar flexibilities, but for some reason the 354 does not really want to flex back as much. It kind of just stays there, as opposed to 356, as well as the SM. Wow, this is going to get really confusing with trying to say all of the names. As far as performance, they all perform great. As far as speed, the SM, say, is a little bit slower, and it feels a lot smoother. The magnets are under the plastic, and although you can feel that click, everything just feels very, very smooth. These two feel very similar. You have a bit more of a scratchy feeling, and a little bit more airy. I've added quite a bit of lubrication to make it feel smoother. You can hear this one was a little more scratchy sounding, which is what this one sounded like when I got it, but this one, a lot smoother. And actually there was a lot more lubrication in it. I recently just cleaned it out and reset it up. As far as smoothness, if you want one that's really smooth, the SM is the way to go with that one. Now obviously, as you can see, the SM does not come in stickerless. Only these two do. They do come in stickered as well, but if you want stickerless, these are the only two that will work. The SM is out for that one. But I want to go back to the springs. And I guess before that, let's talk about magnets. The X, you can change the magnets. You can have no magnets if you want, as well as lighter ones, heavier ones, and then I have the heaviest ones that are in there, which are the clear ones. I've never had an issue with the magnet strength for the SM. I know some people feel like it's too strong. So there is that really fine adjustment. A lot of people who I've talked to who have this use the strongest magnets anyways. They're not too strong at all. If there was one that was like a lot stronger than that, that could be a nice adjustment for those who even want more. But realistically, these aren't actually that strong comparatively for what even the SM was. I would actually say the SM magnets might be stronger than the strongest magnets for the X and the 354. The 354 feel a little bit clickier, or a little bit stronger, and I think that has to do with just, the size of the puzzle. I don't know if the magnets are the same distance outward. You can actually see these are closer to that edge than this one is. But I don't know, these ones feel a little bit stronger, a little bit clickier. And then again, they're not actually the ones you can push through like these ones are. So when you adjust this, you just push that all the way through and fix it. These are just little smaller things embedded in the plastic, but I'm sure that might change in the future. The SM has just the screw that you tighten with the tensioning tool. I don't know if it's the V3, V4, or what they're calling it, but it's the one where you just tension it with the tensioning tool. And this is different than the old Air. They've got some new springs, which are a little bit nicer. They stay in place more often, so I know with the Air, some people had issues where the springs actually loosened a little bit. These don't do that, or when you're turning, they loosen is what I'm trying to say. And also you can turn it more to adjust more fine adjustments. With the old Air, I felt like even a quarter turn made it go from too tight to too loose. The 354 used new springs, and when they were showing them and demoing them in prototypes, it had a locking mechanism, but they didn't use that yet. That might happen in the future, and that's what's in here. I'll talk about that in a second. So this is even a different spring than what these are, and you can see in this video right here that actually the springs themselves are wider. So I made a video about stretching these springs out because you cannot swap these out. You can't even take it apart and swap the springs. They do not fit. So an issue I have with this is the springs were not tight enough, even with the yellow springs, which are the tightest that come with it. That's if you like tighter feeling puzzles, the SM would be the way to go. Now with the X, there's actually a locking mechanism. So there's 3 different tensions you can have per spring. I had it backwards. I looked at the pamphlet that came with it, but I must have misread it, and I thought 1 was the strongest, was like the tightest, and 0.6 was the loosest, but it's the opposite. And what I was told through someone in the comment section, thank you for pointing this out, that they're saying that 0.6 is how many millimeters away from the core, or centimeters? Maybe it's millimeters. But how far away from the core it is, the spring, from there. So once I adjusted it, the tensions were a lot better, and they seem to have loosened a little bit. Not that the springs themselves have loosened, but the springs have just been compressed a little bit since I started using it. I feel like there's a initial compression that happens with the springs that you will get right away, and then there's not too much after that, and it just through thousands of sols will slowly adjust a little bit more. But with that tighter tension here, it was a lot better, and I really do like the use of this puzzle. It still can be a little bit fast and a little bit more flexible than I would like, so I've added some heavy lubricant to slow it down. So which one should you get? Well, let's talk about a couple things, kind of review. As far as smoothness, the SM is the smoothest, without a doubt. It's not exactly the quietest. This one has a little bit more of a hollow sound to it compared to, I don't know volume level, but this one actually sounds deeper sounding. But again, that was with a lot of lubrication added. So obviously stickerless and stickered. Now, which one has the most adjustments you can do? Well, if you want adjustments in magnets, this is the only one at the moment where you can really swap those out. But as far as what you can get the most possibilities out of, I would actually say the SM, just because of the 7 different springs you get and the unlimited tensioning. Now you can get I think they're calling it the V5 springs instead of the numerical. Actually, I'm looking at a pack thing right now and it says the V3. Wait, no, V5. Okay, this is confusing. GES V3, IPG V5. So GTN V3. Okay, call that whatever you want. But the numerical one is one that locks in. This one you can adjust. A lot of places are just stocking up the numerical one because really it was super fast to adjust, which was really nice, although I'm not going to really be adjusting it after this. So although it was really nice initially, it just sort of limits what I can do from there. I do like this, and I think if it was between the puzzles, I don't know which ones I would use. I'm getting really good times with this, and I like the look of stickerless. I'm so used to it. When I go back to stickered, it looks limiting. I like the feeling of these solves a bit more. So I'll kind of give you a final rundown of each one. So with this, if you want something that's really smooth, that has a lot of adjustments with tensioning, get the SM. If you want something that is smaller and stickerless with a little bit more of a crispy feel to it, get this one. And then if you want something that has adjustments with magnets, stickerless, and a little bit more of a crispy feel, get the X. Since the pieces are nearly identical and performance is nearly identical, there's not too much of a difference in performance, and you're not going to get really much better times on one compared to the other. So thank you very much for watching. Hit like, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and as always, stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.